Welcome to Last Week in AWS, brought to you by me over at Duckbill. Dealing with your cloud contracts, be they AWS renegotiations, perhaps you're going to miss your contract spend, perhaps you don't know if you're tracking your contractual commitments. Well, that's what we do with services and software. If you're having trouble with your bill, reach out at duckbillhq.com. Also, we're hiring, which is of potential interest if you've just been unceremoniously laid off from Amazon. Honestly, saying that feels like ambulance chasing, except for the fact that everyone I've talked to so far who's been laid off is really interested in finding other places to work. In fact, the most humane thing that I've seen about this so far came from Matt Rosoff over at The Register. Remember, it's not your fault. Now, here's what happened last week at AWS. AWS Network Firewall now supports GenAI traffic visibility and enforcement with web category-based filtering. Finally, a way to see which developers are using ChatGPT to write their IAM policies. Hint, it's the folks with IAM policies that actually work. The feature itself is fine, but categorizing GenAI traffic separately feels like AWS gearing up to itemize it on your bill later. At least TLS inspection means you'll know exactly what it is you're blocking. More room to build. Serverless services now support payloads up to 1 megabyte. 4 times the payload means 4 times the bill when you realize those simple events are now hauling around entire transaction histories. Sure beats S3 workarounds, but your Lambda cost just got really interesting. At least they're solving a problem that they themselves created. Introducing pre-warming for key spaces tables. Pre-warming your database so it doesn't choke during Black Friday? That's just admitting that serverless auto-scaling was always a polite fiction. At least they're honest about keeping you to keep the capacity warm instead of pretending it magically appears when needed. Managing IP exhaustion for Amazon RDS Proxy. RDS Proxy ate all your IP addresses, and now AWS is graciously explaining how to fix the problem they created. IPv6 could solve it, but if you can't use it, congratulations on your new subnet expansion project. At least they send you an alert before everything catches fire, provided you're paying attention enough to catch it. Strategies for upgrading Amazon Aurora PostgreSQL and Amazon RDS for PostgreSQL from version 13. That's right, PostgreSQL 13 support ends February 2026, so AWS helpfully published a guide to convince you upgrading is worth the inevitable pain. They lead with performance improvements because we're forcing you to do this anyway doesn't test as well in focus groups. At least you have a year to procrastinate. Wait, it's already 26? Shit. File integrity monitoring with Amazon Systems Manager and Amazon Security Lake. They've turned check if your files change into a 6-service Rube Goldberg machine involving S3, Lambda, Security Hub, and Athena. This used to be a cron job and some shell scripts, but sure, let's add QuickSight dashboards to monitor our config files. And that's what happened last week in AWS. I'm Corey Quinn. Stay salty.